I will not date a broke guy. Now, if I'm dating a man that treats me amazing and has a provider mindset and he only makes $10 an hour, but he's spending, I don't know, $5 of that $10 on me to buy me flowers.
A lot of women date guys who don't have as much as them because they can be lazy, they can mistreat a guy, they can do whatever they want to do, and they can be the shitty person that they are.
I'm dating a broke guy, and it really, really sucks because he has the best personality, hands down. I have so much fun with him, but it's like it's gotten to the point where right now I'm not doing as financially well as I normally do.
A woman's loyalty is tested when her man has nothing, and a man's loyalty is tested when he has everything. The most disgusting thing a man can do is leave his day one woman struggle. Because if a woman helped you on your come up, then she sure as shit should enjoy some of the spoils of it once you're there.
As a divorce lawyer, I've watched men come into court talking about gold diggers while driving a car with 3 hubcaps and a suspended registration. The paranoia some men have about being taken advantage of financially would be a little bit more believable if they even had finances to begin with.
Oh brother, Canadians as we know it are becoming an extinct species. Sit back and ask yourself, when's the last time you went to a baby shower? When's the last time you went to a marriage? How long are these relationships lasting out here? With the pressures of comparison on social media and the economic imbalances that has everybody on a day-to-day hamster wheel, it seems like nobody has marriage on their mind. A new study shows that marriage and home ownership amongst 30-year-olds falls from 50% to 15% in the last 65 years. People would rather migrate than get married in Canada. And for those of you who think I'm overreacting, take a look at this video right here and tell me what you think of it. And don't forget to follow me on TikTok.
Fam, you have to be delusional or dumb thinking you're going to live any type of lavish life or build any type of generational wealth in a country like Canada where they want us all dumpster diving. If you're not hitting the chop or a telly, listen, just get out of this country, brother. That's why the most educated Canadians are choosing to leave. In the first quarter of 2025 alone, 27,000 citizens and permanent residents have left the country. You know how many people that is? That's 100,000 a year. I remember, that's the people that can afford to leave. Some people can't leave. Some people have families, careers, traps, and telly things they have to look after. And where are people going? Countries like Italy, Spain, Mexico, and Thailand are becoming new dreams for many. Oh, brother, people rather go live lavish in Thailand with the risk of laying with a ladyboy than live in Canada, brother. Now, you're better than me. I'm not doing that. Maybe I'm just over-exaggerating and tripping. Maybe I just have to put in the work, you know what I mean? Put in the work to get the proceeds, you know what I mean? But listen, what does the Canadian dream even look like in Canada right now? Imagine you run up your million and say you're going to buy a house, you know what I mean? Or you're going to mortgage a house, you know what I mean? This is what your house is going to look like right here. Tiny Toronto home under 500 square foot listed for $599K. 600 racks to mortgage this. Brother, you might as well mortgage a mud hut in Africa. You might as well go nah, for real, fam. 600K to live in a porta potty size house. And you wonder why the number of homeless people in Toronto has doubled between 2021 and 2024. You know what I mean? Maybe they're the smart ones and we're the dumb ones. You know what I mean? Man are saving up all their money to go buy a 600K house the size of a tent. Fam, you have to...
You see what I'm saying, bro? Like, bro, this is why divorce is on the all-time high. People are not getting married. You know what I mean? Like, Canada is on full crash out mode, bro. The Canadian Crash Out Chronicles is a real thing. Now I have another video that we're gonna react to. This is an informational video on the YouTube channel Discover the Canada. Go subscribe to Discover the Canada. They make good videos. You know what I mean? This is a good video. My brethren sent me this. Divorce rates in Canada are skyrocketing. Here's the real reason. We're gonna tap into this and find out, bro.
Divorce rates in Canada are exploding, and no one's talking about why. In the last decade, nearly 4 out of 10 marriages in Canada have ended in divorce. And while many blame money or cheating, those aren't even the biggest reasons anymore. What if I told you social media, mental health, and even love itself are silently pulling couples apart? From Instagram envy to financial chaos, and even the rise of starter marriages, relationships are cracking under invisible pressure most people don't even realize they're under. But here's the twist, it's not all bad news. Some of these changes are actually empowering people, while others are slowly eroding the foundation of long-term love. So, why are so many marriages failing in modern-day Canada? And could your relationship be at risk too? Stick around, because the truth behind the divorce spike is way deeper than you think. Number 1. Changing gender roles and expectations. One of the biggest, and most underestimated, reasons for rising divorce rates in Canada is the massive shift in gender roles. Not long ago, most marriages followed a predictable pattern: the men worked, the woman stayed home. But today, That script is completely flipped. Women are now more educated, more financially independent, and more career-driven than ever before. In fact, over 60% of Canadian university graduates are women, and more households now have dual incomes than single earners. While this is great progress, it's also creating tension in relationships that were built on old expectations. Many couples find themselves struggling to navigate a new balance of power, and when that balance is off, conflict is inevitable. Some men feel threatened or unsure of their role. Some women feel overburdened, trying to juggle both a career and household responsibilities. When communication breaks down, resentment starts to build quietly, like a slow leak in a pipe, and by the time it bursts, the damage is already done. A 2023 study from the
I spoke on this before, bro. Because women are making more money and there's more men that are just straight bums out here, the gender roles are changing. That's why all the women want the top earners, because even women are making money now, you know what I mean? And women never want to be in a position where they're the leader. They want to be submissive, but at the same time, society makes them so masculine. It's like, bro.
University of British Columbia found that gender role clashes were one of the top 5 hidden contributors to divorce, especially in couples aged 28 to 40. Marriage today is no longer about fixed roles, it's about flexibility, mutual support, and honest conversations. But without those, relationships crack under the pressure of unspoken expectations. So the real question is, are couples adjusting fast enough to this new reality? Number 2. Social media and the comparison trap. Let's face it, social media is changing everything about how we see relationships. What used to be private is now public, and what we see online often feels more real than our own lives. But here's the dark truth, social media is quietly destroying marriages. Scroll through Instagram or TikTok, and you'll see perfect couples laughing on vacations, posting romantic gestures, or flaunting luxury lifestyles. It's easy to start wondering, why isn't my relationship like that? This is called the comparison trap, and it's deadly. A 2024 survey by the Canadian Journal of Marriage and Family found that 1 in 3 married people admitted they felt unhappy in their relationship after.
That's the problem with social media. Social media has everybody comparing everybody, you know what I mean? Everybody wants to be India and Dirk. Listen, you're not going to be India and Dirk, okay?
Comparing it to what they saw online. Even worse, social media creates sneaky opportunities for emotional cheating. What starts as a harmless DM or a flirty comment can quickly become a doorway to infidelity. But it's not just about cheating.
That's a fact. And with social media, the worst thing is for the women, because women could be mid and a man could have money across the world, message her. Now she's looking at her situation like, this guy doesn't rate me. This guy doesn't, you know what I mean? This guy doesn't respect me. This guy doesn't value me. I know my value. That guy across the world liked my picture. Put heart eyes under my picture. Oh my gosh.
Social media also fuels constant distraction. Instead of talking to each other, couples are scrolling. Instead of solving problems, they're escaping into filters and fake lives. The result? Less connection, more resentment, and emotional disconnection. Psychologists call this digital erosion, where emotional intimacy is worn down by constant digital noise. So, if you find yourself comparing your love life to someone else's highlight reel, stop and ask, are you chasing something real, or just a filtered fantasy? This silent marriage killer is only getting stronger. And the scariest part,
Bro, we're living in a society where everybody's chasing a fantasy. Everybody wants to be a content creator. Everybody wants to be super rich, have Lamborghinis, the best women. The women want the most extravagant lifestyle on the most extravagant trips. We're living in a virtual simulation, brother.
Couples don't even realize it's happening until it's too late. Number 3. Financial stress and economic pressure. They say money can't buy happiness, but it sure can destroy a marriage. In today's Canada, the cost of living is soaring. From rent and mortgage payments to groceries.
Money can't buy happiness is a lie. Money in an economy like this.
And childcare, even middle-class families are feeling the squeeze. And when financial pressure builds, tensions rise fast, often faster than couples are prepared for. According to Statistics Canada, over 68% of divorced couples said money problems played a significant role in their separation. That makes it one of the top triggers for marital breakdown in the country. But here's the thing, it's not always about not having enough money. It's often about how money is handled. One person wants to save, the other spends.
And we already know a lot of relationships like that, bro. I'm not trying to blame the woman, but usually that's the women don't want to build. Women want to move in and be rich. You know what I mean? Women don't want to build an empire. They want to move into the empire. You know what I mean? So while you're stacking your money, shorty's looking at Instagram, seeing India Love, seeing all these people on living extravagant lifestyles, or India Royale, whatever her name is, living extravagant lifestyles with her husband. You know what I mean? But they're not showing you the downside. They're not showing you that guy's cheating with 5 other women. You know what I mean? And she has to hug that because his value is so high. Like, what are you gonna do?
Wants to invest, the other is buried in credit card debt. Different values, hidden habits, and poor communication create a ticking time bomb. And unlike emotional issues, financial stress shows up every day. Bills don't go away. Debt doesn't disappear. It's the kind of pressure that sits at the kitchen table every night, a constant reminder of what's not working. The stress multiplies when children enter the picture, or when one partner loses their job. Suddenly, it's not just about love, it's about survival. And what many couples don't realize: money problems are rarely just about money. They're often about control, trust, and power. If couples don't learn to talk openly about finances early on, without judgment or blame, the issues only grow, quietly, consistently, until they explode.
Honestly, my opinion, as a man, you shouldn't even be discussing finances with your woman. You should just be running up your bag and just trying to stack up your bag. And if you go broke, brother. You never tell your shawty, yo, listen, I'm going through something, it's hard times right now, and sobbing. No, you have to soldier through that. That's just what it takes to be a man. That's just the society we live in, bro. Because once you start kicking that sad shit, she's looking to another man's shoulder to cry on. And a shoulder to cry on becomes a to write on. You already know that, bro.
So the next time you say, it's not about the money, ask yourself, is it really not? Number 4. Marriage is no longer forever for everyone. Once upon a time, marriage was seen as a lifelong commitment, no matter what. You stayed together through thick and thin, even if love faded or things got hard. But that mindset, it's quickly becoming a thing of the past. Today, more and more Canadians are embracing a new belief. Marriage should last only as long as it's healthy, happy, and fulfilling. Welcome to the era of conditional commitment. If a relationship no longer brings growth, peace, or purpose, people are more willing than ever to walk away.
That shit is disgusting. That's some quitter shit. That's why a lot of men don't even choose to be in a relationship. People in general, bro, because who wants to be with somebody that's supposed to be married and you're getting out of relationships, going to marry somebody else? Like, bro, it's like when I look at people that have been married like 4 times, like, bro, that's a big commitment. You obviously don't take marriage seriously in the first place, bro.
Even without cheating, abuse, or major drama. In fact, we're seeing the rise of something called the starter marriage. These are shorter-term marriages, usually child-free, that end after just a few years, more like a test run than a lifetime bond. Census data shows a clear trend: divorce rates are highest among couples married less than 7 years. Not because of crisis, but because of disappointment. People go in expecting marriage to complete them. And when it doesn't, they leave, hoping to find something better. It's not always a bad thing. Sometimes, divorce is the right choice. But the downside? Many couples give up without learning how to repair, grow, or rebuild. Relationships aren't always broken, sometimes they're just untended. And in a world that celebrates self-love and independence, staying feels like settling, even when it's not. So, is this emotional freedom? Or have we made marriage disposable? That's a question only you can answer. But one thing's clear: forever means something very different today than it did a generation ago. We'd love to hear from you. Which reason shocked you the most, or have you experienced any of these yourself? We pour a lot into making videos that matter, so if this one helped you in any way, please hit like and subscribe. It's just one click, but it means everything to us. Number 5. Mental health awareness and self-prioritization. We're living in a time where mental health is finally being taken seriously. People are talking openly about anxiety, depression, burnout, and trauma, and that's a huge step forward. But with this awareness comes something unexpected: more divorces. Why? Because people are starting to realize that staying in an unhappy marriage can hurt their mental health.
Yeah, bro, people, this generation, people are way softer too. Like, bro, this whole mental health thing made a lot of people, like, Me Too, made them woke to the emotions. I feel like that's kind of dying down now, but bro, our old generation, you get into a marriage, you're dying in that marriage. You're not getting into a marriage to go into a next marriage or give up. Like quit. That's why I don't know, bro. People quit too easy with anything. I'm not a quitter, bro. That's why I don't even bother getting married, right? Because I'd go crazy because I wouldn't quit. You know what I mean? That's the old folks. You know what I mean? But I'm an OG. I'm not an old folk. But you know what I'm saying?
Health. A 2023 survey from CAMH, Center for Addiction and Mental Health, found that over 40% of recently divorced Canadians said prioritizing their mental well-being was a key reason for ending the relationship. In the past, people stayed in bad marriages out of obligation, guilt, or fear. Today, they're more willing to say, "I can't keep losing myself to save this." It's not always about toxicity or abuse.
Bro, nowadays people are selfish. They don't care about the family. They don't care about the kids. They don't care about the, you know what I mean, the grandparents. They're worried about their fun. That's what everybody's concerned about, is fun.
Sometimes, it's just about emotional misalignment, where one partner feels unseen, unsupported, or emotionally exhausted. Add in stress, work pressure, parenting, and unresolved personal trauma, and you've got a recipe for emotional burnout, even inside a loving marriage. Therapists are seeing a trend, more clients choosing themselves over keeping the peace. It's not selfish. It's survival. People are asking harder questions. Is this relationship helping me grow? Am I thriving, or just existing? And if the answer is no, they're walking away, even if everything looks fine from the outside. So while mental health awareness is saving lives, it's also pushing people to make brave, painful choices. Sometimes, the path to healing means letting go, not holding on. Number 6. Rushing into marriage too soon. We all love a good love story. The whirlwind romance, the fairy tale wedding, the happily ever after. But sometimes, people get caught up in the rush of romance and skip the most important part, building a solid foundation. In Canada, studies show that couples who marry before the age of 25 are twice as likely to divorce than those who wait until their late 20s or early 30s. That's not a coincidence, that's a pattern.
That doesn't mean anything, though. That just means you're washed and you feel like the older you get, you feel like you have to stay with somebody, bro. At the end of the day, I feel like life's super short at the end of the day, you know what I mean? So what's too soon, you know what I mean? Like, you have a kid when you're 25, by the time you're 35, your kid's gonna be 10. You know what I mean? If you have a kid at 35, but by the time your kid's 15, you're gonna be 50. It's like, how many kids can you have at the fam? Back in the day, people were having 8 kids, 9 kids. You know what I mean? You can't have 8 kids, 9 kids, and you're starting having kids at 35, 40. You know what I mean? Make it make sense. You're gonna be a grandpa by the time you have your second kid.
Pattern. Why? Because many people confuse infatuation with compatibility. They fall in love with the excitement, the chemistry, the idea of being married, without taking the time to truly understand each other's values, goals, or long-term habits. And when the honeymoon phase ends, and it always does, they're suddenly faced with real-life problems they never discussed. How do we handle money? Do we want kids? What does trust actually mean to us? Couples who rush often skip these deeper conversations, thinking love will figure it out. But love, without communication and compatibility, can't hold everything together. There's also pressure from society, family, and even social media to hit life milestones, engagement photos, destination weddings, picture-perfect anniversaries. But behind the scenes, many couples are struggling, feeling like they committed to a future they didn't fully understand. So if you're thinking about marriage, or already in one, ask.
That's facts, bro. I feel like social media plays a big part in all these marriages and all these relationships in general, bro. If you can't sell the social media dream, women especially, they're looking at you like, bro, you're not a fun guy, this, that, you know what I mean? Even if you could be a fun guy, but if you're not showing it off, like, your fun points are decreasing by at least 25%.
Ask yourself, did you choose this life with clarity, or in a rush of emotion? Because love at first sight might make a great movie, but in real life, it often leads to heartbreak at first fight. Number 7. Unrealistic expectations of marriage. We all grow up with an idea of what marriage should be. Thanks to movies, fairy tales, and social media, that idea often looks like this. Endless romance, your partner completing you, 0 arguments, and a love that magic.
Yeah, the expectations of marriage are all done. They're all cooked because the gender roles are reversed now. You know what I mean? Men are thinking they're gonna go work. Their wife's gonna be super submissive, have dinner ready. Women are not doing that anymore. Women can barely even cook nowadays. Women don't want to cook. You know what I mean? And women are thinking they're gonna get taken care of and this, that, when they have to work jobs because the man can't even pay all the bills.
magically solves everything. Sounds perfect, right? But here's the truth, those expectations are setting couples up to fail. In real life, marriage is hard work. It's messy, complicated, and full of ups and downs. But many people go into it believing their partner should be their best friend, soulmate, therapist, emotional healer, co-parent, financial partner, and biggest cheerleader, all in one. That's not love. That's pressure. When expectations are sky high, even a normal disagreement can feel like a sign the marriage is broken. Suddenly, one rough patch becomes a reason to quit, not something to work through. A study from the University of Toronto found that couples with unrealistic relationship expectations were significantly more likely to report dissatisfaction and higher divorce intentions within the first 5 years of marriage. Why? Because they weren't prepared for reality. Marriage doesn't mean you'll never feel lonely, or frustrated, or misunderstood. It means you've committed to growing through those moments, together. But when people expect constant happiness, they see normal struggles as proof they married the wrong person. The real challenge? Learning that marriage isn't about perfection, it's about partnership. Not fairy tales. Not filters. Just two imperfect people, choosing each other again and again. Number 8. The rise of divorce positivity. Once upon a time, divorce was whispered about in shame. It was the ultimate failure, a secret, a scandal, something to hide. But not anymore. Welcome to the age of divorce positivity, where leaving a marriage is no longer viewed as defeat, but as a bold, empowered choice. All over social media, you'll find influencers, therapists, and everyday people proudly sharing their divorce glow-up stories. They talk about rediscovering themselves, finding freedom, and rebuilding their lives. And honestly, it's inspiring. But here's where things get tricky. As the stigma around divorce fades, so does the urgency to fight for the relationship. More people now see divorce as a clean reset button, instead of a last resort. In many ways, that's a good thing. It means people stuck in toxic,
Fam, people are looking at marriage like it's a whole scam, bro. That's why men don't want to get married, bro. Because every time you're looking on the news, somebody's getting got for millions of dollars. Even these prenups don't even work sometimes. I seen the other day a guy did a prenup. The prenup didn't count because it was more than 10 years. It's crazy out here, bro.
Abusive or emotionally dead marriages now have the freedom to walk away without judgment. But in other cases, it can encourage couples to give up too soon, before trying therapy, deep communication, or true reconciliation. According to a recent survey by the Vanier Institute of the Family, nearly 1 in 4 divorced Canadians said they regret not working harder to fix the relationship before calling it quits. Divorce isn't shameful, but it's also not always the easy way out. It's a deeply personal decision that should be made with clarity, not just culture. So while divorce positivity is freeing thousands from—
It's not the easy way out for men. For women, it's the easy way out. For men, you're getting cooked for everything, especially if you have money. If you're a broke man, that's a different story, okay, I guess. But if you're a man with money, bro, more money, more problems, bro.
From silent suffering. It's also raising a tough question. Have we made leaving easier than learning to stay? Number 9. Easier access to divorce laws and online services. In the past, getting a divorce was long, expensive, and emotionally draining. You needed lawyers, court dates, paperwork, and often, months of waiting. But today, divorce is just a few clicks away. With the rise of online divorce platforms, simplified legal procedures, and more flexible provincial laws, ending a marriage has never been easier in Canada. For example, in Ontario and Alberta, you can now file for divorce completely online, skipping in-person court appearances altogether.
That's crazy, bro.
Some services even promise a finalized divorce in under 6 weeks, for less than the cost of a weekend getaway. This convenience has removed many of the barriers that once forced couples to pause and reconsider. Now, if a marriage starts to break down, it's easier to walk away than ever before. On one hand, this is progress. It helps survivors of abuse.
Bro, you see how this country is setting us up, though? They're making everything expensive, The only thing they're making cheap is not being with your partner. They're making divorce cheap. You know what I mean? You want to go be by yourself? Okay, go. You want to reprocreate or whatever? You want to have kids? You want to have a family? You want to have a house? Brother, you can't afford it.
Low-income spouses and emotionally exhausted individuals leave quickly and safely. But on the flip side, It also means some couples may choose divorce impulsively, before exhausting all possible solutions, like counseling, mediation, or time apart. Easy access changes the mindset. Why fix it when I can just end it? According to family lawyers, the surge in quick divorces has coincided with an increase in shorter marriages, many under 5 years. So while technology has made breaking up smoother, it may also be weakening the commitment to stay together. The question is, does easier always mean better? Or are we trading patience for convenience and calling it progress? Number 10. Emotional disconnection without a big reason. Not every marriage ends because of betrayal, abuse, or a dramatic fight. Sometimes, it ends with quiet distance, and that might be the saddest reason of all. More and more couples in Canada are divorcing without a single big issue. No cheating. No explosive arguments. No major crisis. Just a slow, silent drift. It starts subtly, fewer deep conversations, more screen time, separate routines. The passion.
Bro, more screen time. You already know what's happening, bro. Shorty's texting mans on Instagram. Homies texting the girl on Instagram. You know what I mean? She's probably not feeling him because he's shaking it. The economy is horrible. You know what I mean? He probably can't provide. She's looking for a way out, right? She's looking for a safety net before she leaves.
Fades. The friendship weakens. And before you know it, two people living under the same roof start to feel like strangers. Experts call this emotional disconnection, and it's one of the most common, and least talked about, causes of divorce. In fact, a 2023 relationship study from McGill University found that over 45% of divorced Canadians said they just grew apart. No scandal. Just distance. It's dangerous because it's easy to miss. Couples tell themselves, we're just busy. Or, this is normal.
But that's exactly what it is, bro. When you're in a economy like this, where you're constantly on a rat race, you're constantly on a hamster wheel, bro, sometimes you're not around your partner to even have that connection still. Sometimes you're not around, sometimes you guys lose that chemistry. You guys can't laugh, you know what I mean? Because you guys are always working. You guys are always so serious trying to get to the bag. You know what I mean?
But the truth is, connection doesn't vanish overnight, it fades when it's not nurtured. And unlike dramatic issues that demand attention, emotional disconnection quietly destroys marriages from the inside out. The good news? It's also one of the most reversible issues, if caught in time. Regular check-ins, open emotional dialogue, and small shared moments can rebuild what's been lost. But without that effort, even a stable marriage can crumble without warning. So if everything seems fine, ask yourself, are we close? Or just coexisting? Because sometimes, it's not the loud problems that end a marriage, it's the silence. So, why are divorce rates in Canada skyrocketing? It's not just about cheating or money anymore, it's about shifting values, modern pressures, emotional burnout, and a culture that's redefining what relationships should look like. From the illusion of perfect couples on social media to rising financial stress, from evolving gender roles to the quiet damage of emotional disconnection, today's marriages are being tested like never before. But here's what we often forget, divorce isn't always a failure. Sometimes, it's the right decision, an act of courage, healing, or self-preservation. Other times, it's simply the result of not being prepared for the reality of long-term commitment in a world that constantly promotes independence, speed, and self-prioritization. Every relationship is different. But the reasons behind divorce today are more complex, layered, and deeply human than ever before. And if we want better outcomes, we have to understand the real problems, not just the surface ones. Because behind every statistic is a...
My opinion, I feel like, bro, 80% of it is all financial, bro. No matter how much people want to say, money is not that important, money is not that important, money is a very important tool, you know what I mean? Especially in a, like, bro, money, it kind of brings masculinity to some men, even though you don't need money to be masculine, but bro, some people, a lot of men lead with their money. So if you don't have money, you're not even attractive to the girl, and you're like, bro, you don't even have that earth to you. You don't have that earth factor, brother. And before I get out of here, I have another video touching on this
Oh, brother, this inflation is bad like a Bosch BBL. Why do you think the only concern Canadians have is getting to this cash? There's a big culture shift, and Canadian culture, as we know it, is becoming extinct. Marriage and home ownership among 30-year-olds falls from 50% to under 15% in 65 years. 65 years. You know why? Because nobody's trying to have a long-term commitment in Canada. Damn, Canada is quickly becoming one of the most expensive, inflated places to live with some of the most least satisfying circumstances to live in. It makes no goddamn sense. The way the government has it, if you're not being taxed, you're being fined. If you're not being fined, somehow you're being finessed in some other way. And then they're gonna ask a stupid question like this: is it the economy, the culture, or is it simply just a choice? Brother, if the choice is sink or swim, what do you pick? At the end of the day, even though the Canadian tradition is changing, people still live by traditional values. So if a man's wife has to work just as much as he works, he's not even gonna want to traditionally get married. He'd rather move somewhere else where he could traditionally have a normal life. Nowadays, your wife might be making more than you know what I mean? So like, there's an imbalance in the household, you know what I mean? The male doesn't feel masculine. Now she's talking back to you. Now you're not even a guy anymore. Now idiot thing. Not even just a man, it's the gal them too. The gal them want a traditional male that could provide. No matter how much money a gal makes, she wants a man that could provide at the end of the day. There's no gal has a dream of, oh, we're both working 9 to 5s, going super hard, and we never see each other. That's not no gal's dream. Damn, the gal them want some extravagant lifestyle. They're trying to shake their body on a bro cruise. You think they're trying to sit down and suffer in silence and sip maple syrup? Stop acting like you're busy. You're on TikTok scrolling. Click the link right there in my bio and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I post there before I post here.
Look at the comments right now. I don't care about the news, but I'll listen to it if I'll listen to you talk about it. Shout out to Miss Aquaranta. See what else. Man said, I just gave up at this point. I'm taking over my Duke's crib when everything is all said and done. It's crazy in this country. The trend is global too. Currently, 89% of the world's population lives in a country with falling marriage rates. Hey, it might be true. I just canceled my law school application in Toronto after Ford dropped that 2025 budget. The government tricked everyone. Freeze always come with the facts. Yeah, you guys drop in the comments, what do you think? Why are Canada's marriage rates dropping? Do you think it's an economy thing? Do you think it's a social media thing? Do you think it's a trend? Do you think times are just changing, bro, and marriage is not a thing anymore? Do you think it's a monogamy, polygamy thing? People are choosing different routes of life? I don't know, bro, but all I know is you watch this whole video, subscribe to the video, bro, drop a like down there, bro. Don't be a waste man now, come on. Off of this, bro.